Hello, you beautiful beings, you beautiful infinite beings, right onto your path of exploring the infinite, exploring your infinite potential, your infinite reality, your infinite truth, your infinite self, ultimately. I hope you're all doing well and having an amazing day so far. And for those who've been here before, prior to this video, and recurringly visited my channel, are probably wondering where's the violin, or we're expecting this to be a violin performance video, which isn't the case. And that's not the case because I've been planning to shift the focus of this channel for a very, very long time now, and it's kinda happening now. This, however, doesn't mean that there won't be violent videos for yet again. And you might have noticed that this channel, the name has been changed to AF, Conscious Frequency. And fortunately enough, violin playing falls under conscious frequency. So there will still be violin performance, because I honestly I do consider it part of my truth and part of the reality I wish to go on pursuing and living. So there will definitely be violin in my life, and I will still share it just as I share everything else. But it will be to a much lesser extent than compared to the main focus of this channel, which is gonna be me just sharing and speaking my philosophy, my truth, and just sharing all of the knowledge I've accumulated and whatever wisdom I have to offer, just sharing it and putting it out there with those who are willing to receive and willing to share back in return, and make this just create a conscious platform for everyone to be. So why now? I've said that I've been planning for a very, very long time, but why now? But before anything, I'd like to mention that this video might end up being not what I'm intending to do right now, due to the duration, because right now I'm doing an introduction, sort of a long introduction, being at the first video of this kind, and why I'm planning to shift this channel into this reality specifically at this time, and why this is the best time for it to actually, for anyone to pursue their truth and to start sharing and start being real to themselves, as real as they could ever be. While this video is actually intended to be about patterns, about life patterns, about how to recognize, how to identify, and how to deal with and live with and heal patterns that shadowly controls and dictate your whole lives, and shadow patterns that many people live whole lifetimes with them without recognizing them and without taking action towards them, and just living through them their whole lives, being a byproduct of cause and effect, and how to actually break through them and change your reality and start creating your own reality and following your heart's desire, once you've ridden yourself from those cyclic loops that just keep you stuck for lifetimes. So if this video is anything under the title of patterns, then I've put the whole, and life patterns, then I've put the whole video in one, and the duration was sufficient for both video, for the introduction and the video itself to go together. But if this video is about is titled something around shifting the channel's reality, or why now is the best time, to do this, then it's probably just the introductory part for the other video, which is about the life patterns and how to break through them. So if the time duration, by the end of this, if the duration got too long, I will actually separate them into two videos, and I'll make a different introduction to the other video. However, it's I apologize in advance if I'm not very straightforward, or if I don't seem very concise and, you know, a little bit distorted with my phrases and with my thoughts. It's because it's my first time, obviously, doing these kind of videos, and because I'm not normally used to go through a discussion just one way all the way to the end. My thoughts are not, I not organize my thoughts in such a manner. I just let them flow, and the way they flow is usually through a conversation or through a discussion. Even if I've had them before, even if they are my concepts, my philosophies, I just don't seem to always be able to instantly recall them and share them, or it's just something that I pick up from words, and even from words I say myself, and even from words I hear from others, and it just reminds me of, oh yeah, there is this part and that part, so this is why this might go back and forth. But of course, with time, if this is happening, then with time I'll have to regulate these kind of things and regulate the timing and see a way, because usually once I get on talking and once I start sharing my truth and what I see to be as meaningful and valuable, I just keep on going and just keep pulling one subtopic under subtopic under sub patterns, and it just keeps going. And so it might take longer than I planned. So with time, I'll have to find a way definitely to regulate this, if that proves to be a thing actually. So why now? Why now I've decided to do this, to actually pursue my truth and to finally make the change to this channel and start sharing and start doing these kind of videos, mainly for two reasons. The first one, it's being a personal one, which is I'm not in a comfortable. I've had the plan for a very long time, and I had the intent to actually switch this channel, but I was in a comfortable place. I was you know, in a pleasurable life, and I've gotten maybe away from my spiritual aspect, and I was just very, for the past few years, I was getting very sucked into the matrix, very sucked into this material reality, and it's, you know, what it has to offer to me and what I can get out of it rather than what it has to offer to me. So I was just ignoring, I was just feeling the unnecessity to actually pursue this kind of thing and to put the effort to share this, although it has always been there, and it has always been part of my deepest desires, and that's why it's manifesting itself right now. So, but it just never seemed as the right moment to me. I always wanted to find the perfect moment, but rather the perfect moment is something we create. It's not something that we find, but I just wanted to make sure this is gonna come out perfectly well from the beginning, that I'm gonna do a perfect performance and with sharing my truth in whatever topic that I start with. But there is never such a thing, and you just have to take that step, that you just have to make the hard decision here. You have to challenge yourself and go on doing it, even if you don't have the inner motivation, or you don't find the inner yearning to do it at this right moment. You just have to do it if it's part of your truth, if it's part of what you want to go on living like and manifesting. So at this point, I'm going through a very unpleasant situation. I'd even dare to say the most unpleasant, worst situation that I've ever been in at this point in life. However, I reacted worse to less intense situations the previous times. This time I'm not reacting the same way, and I've been going through this situation for the past 5-ish months. But I'm not, but I'm even though it's kind of a very challenging and bad situation, if you choose to look at it like so, then yeah, those are just the dogs. But if you make it, but we essentially don't have to make it that way, so nothing is bad unless you actually want to look at it as a bad thing. It's all a matter of perspective, and that's why a bad thing is subjective and could be a good thing to another. So it's all about how you look at things and how you want to perceive life in general. The second reason, see, I just keep going longer and longer, and it just takes time, and by now with the length of this video, I'm probably gonna make them 2 different videos. So the other thing being is to why now, why I chose this time, because what is a better time to actually start sharing, to start sharing whatever you have to offer. There's no better time, because now this is a very challenging time. There is a collective awakening, there is a collective challenge, challenging everyone in this life, and people are collectively shifting their realities and their consciousness and their perspectives, and people are starting to notice how they've been stuck into a lie, into a sort of a matrix, and they're not really creating their lives when they can. And so I just felt that there's no better time to share what I have to say, to share more, to give anything. If there's anything to offer, this is the best time to give it. This is just, if I truly am keen on helping others and on supporting others, onto shifting their perspectives and pursuing an ultimately higher frequency life, then it's now's the time to support, to give your all into what you have to offer. And that's why if you're watching this, and if you're thinking to start something, whatever that thing is, as long as it's your truth, your calling, and as long as it has good to offer to others and to the collective, then now is the time. I'm doing this, and I'm sure there are thousands and hundreds of thousands and millions shifting their realities at this point. It's because of the being on the edge, and because nothing changes as long as you're in just a comfortable bubble, living your life. Everything's provided to you pleasurably, and gladly you're just living, and you don't have the urge to go on and add this extra effort to change your reality. But when being on the edge, that's when you figure everything out. That's when you do all that kind of change. This is when everything becomes possible. When you're in dark times, when you're facing your worst nightmare, this is basically because everything is being revealed to you. Your shadow comes out, and your shadows, everything, your hidden, your buried truth starts surfacing and proving to you that you're not as consciously living as you thought, and that rather you're living based on just cause and effect, that you're living subconsciously, that everything that you are and everything you're reacting to and acting to and feeling and thinking is not really you, but rather just been programmed onto you. And whether this is something you're content with or not. Some people live their whole lives knowing this and unwilling to do anything about it. But most people, or many people in general, they once this happens, they start changing, they start taking action, they start feeling that there's something wrong and that they want to live a different way, that there's a discoherence going on, something, disharmony within themselves. And that's why darkness and being on the edge and being alone and being faced with all of your fears and discomforts and hates is what actually gets you going. Just like, you know, they say with the arrow, it's pulled back in order to propel forward, and with everything in life, things has to go down in order to come up. It has to get the momentum, and to get the momentum, it has to hit along something, it has to hit along a wall, it has to find a propulsion point. This propulsion point being the darkness, the being on the edge, because at that point it's everything works together. Your survival center, your heart center, your thought centers, all within your existence, they start working coherently to figure out a solution to heal what's going on. And some people just move through it, let it heal with time, and just, you know, bury it under some comfort bubble and under some coping mechanisms and live on like nothing has happened. And that's okay, because that's what everyone is capable of at that specific point. And once a pattern has formed, it will keep coming back, more or less, unless you consciously, apart from of course healing it, but if before healing it, unless you remove the cause of that pattern, which is usually something very difficult to remove, because it's something that's been in you for your whole life, something that's been coded into you, actually hard coded into you for a very long time, that you either have to heal it. You cannot just act as if it never happened, or just remove the longing for something, a deep subconscious longing that you had for something, which as we're going to discuss later, that causes a pattern. Now, it's not going to be later, that's going to be in a different video probably, because this is gone for too long, and this one has expressed my feelings as to why I've decided to start now, and why now is actually a very good time to start pursuing your truth and start sharing yourself from the deepest parts of yourself, and even start working on yourself, going that extra depth within yourself to know what you're all about. If you're living consciously, if you're just living based on lots of traumas and past experiences, a byproduct of cause and effect, now is a very good time, my friends. Now there is a collective energy in the universe and on earth, with the time, with the periods, with what's actually physically happening, and how it makes everyone emotionally feel. That's powerful energy, that's powerful shifting, because everyone wants to shift. There is a shifting, there is a factor of shifting going on, and this affects everyone. Wants to change, they want to change something, but as long as it's change, it's going to be there, and the energy out there for you to feel that energy. And you've probably felt it. If you're someone who's open to receiving, you've probably already felt that calling from inside to do something, to change something. If this energy is change, if this energy is shift, and that's why it's everywhere in this universe, everywhere on earth right now. So go on, pursue your truth, you beautiful infinite beings, and see you in this next video in a few seconds.